What's up, YouTube? A special shout out to the subscribers here on the channel and welcome to another weekly training video where I'm here to discuss all the training I'm doing to get ready for Ironman Texas coming up in April 2026. In today's video, I'm going to give a brief update about the injury that I've been trying to recover from the past few weeks. I'll take a look at how last week's training went. We'll take a look briefly at the upcoming week of training, and then I'm going to try something new. We're going to take a look and see what Garmin or Garmin Connect thinks about the training that I've been doing the past few weeks. Finally, I'm going to talk about an exciting event I have coming up this Sunday or Saturday. So this weekend, going to be racing the Texas City Triathlon for the second time, and I'm excited about that. So I'll end the video with a little bit of a brief recap on how the last time I did that race went and what I'm hoping for to race this Saturday, or how I'm hoping the race might be able to go down. So let's start off with a quick update about the TFL injury that was presenting as foot pain, which was causing me to need to draw back from running for several weeks. I'm now on week 2 of my return to running, and things are actually going better than I had hoped they would be going. I haven't tried doing any intensity yet. All of the running I've done has been at my easy aerobic pace. However, I have not experienced any type of flare-ups of pain in my foot, and I've been reassured with each run that I think I'm heading in the right direction. I'd be very surprised if I end up back in the same position where I'm limping around with my left foot hurting like crazy after every run. And I'm really thrilled about it. You know, I can be patient. I will get an opportunity to try and run with some intensity in this race coming up this weekend. But between now and then, I'm not planning on trying to speed up at all. Just taking it easy and really just being grateful to be back and doing all 3 of the sports that I love. So I also want to give you an update. I was talking last week about how it felt like the pain in my foot had shot up to my left shoulder. Honestly, the entire week last week was a bit of a roller coaster because I was dealing with some discomfort in my upper shoulder and my upper back. And honestly, it's finally started to calm down, and it really didn't hold me back last week, but it caused a lot of just internal drama, a lot of just wondering if I'm, agitating something new, developing a new injury. But fortunately, in the last 24 hours or so, it's actually calmed down quite a bit. So that being said, let's take a look at all of last week's training. I will take a brief look at some of the more important sessions here, but we'll try to get through it pretty quickly. On Monday, I went to the pool, and that was probably the most struggle day that I had with my left shoulder. As I mentioned in last week's video, I cut my swim a little bit short, swam a little bit easier than planned, and then went and had a really good yoga session that night, was able to get through all the poses, and honestly, Monday was probably the scariest day because my shoulder was really bothering me. Moving into Tuesday, I had a short interval ride on the bike that involved some zone 3 work in different cadences, taking my cadence up over 110 for about 30 seconds and then slowing back down to normal cadence. Fun workout, short workout, no run off the bike, but I did get some strength training done on Tuesday as well. On to Wednesday, back to the pool, longer swim. Really excited to be back in the pool as often as I have been. The previous week, I was able to swim about 6,100 yards, and then moving into last week, I was able to swim, where was it there? 8,325 yards. So I've been able to get at least 7,000 yards in the water every week because I've been going to the pool 3 times a week. So I enjoyed my swim on Wednesday, a little bit of a longer swim, 2,750 yards. And then I had an easy run, 2.5 miles. I've been doing all of my running on the gravel path across the street, and that was a pretty easy run to do, and Wednesday was a good day of training. Also did some PT strength training that I've been doing to help rehab the TFL injury that I've been recovering from. So keeping up with my strength training and my PT movements. On Thursday, I had an extremely difficult bike ride. I recently had my coach load up my plan all the way through the next 70.3 race that I'm planning on doing in November. Haven't signed up for it yet, but I am training for a 70.3, and some of these bike rides that my coach has loaded up this last week were easily some of the hardest rides that I've done in a long time. And Thursday was the start of it. Thursday was a 90-minute ride with 6 by 8 minute main set where I was doing basically 5 minutes in zone 4 with some varying cadences and then recovering in zone 3. So it was like right back and forth between zone 4 and zone 3 for the entire time. So recovering in zone 3 is never fun. I'm not gonna lie, that was a really tough workout, but I was able to get through it. I think I averaged somewhere around 270 watts normalized for 90 minutes here on the trainer. And that had to be probably one of the best power outputs that I've ever done on my indoor trainer. Just monster numbers for me personally to be, maintaining, and I feel really good about the power zones that I'm training in right now because they're challenging, but I'm able to get them done. So really good workout over there on Thursday, and it gave me some confidence going into the longer training ride on Sunday too. So, but first, talking about Friday, went to the pool. I had a shorter swim on my plan, but I've been really, really eager to swim, basically just trying to get that weekly volume consistently to a place above 8,000 yards. And I swam an extra 1,500 3x500 at the end of the workout that my coach put in just to get that volume up. I feel really good about it. 3,400 yards swim. And I somehow missed, I guess I had an easy run, a 30-minute run on Friday. I didn't know. I did that swim and I was just like, yay, training done for the day. So that's my bad. I'm just realizing now that I missed that easy run. So no big deal. On to Saturday, I had my first long run further than 3 miles, 5 miles done. And I was really happy to be back running 5 miles without that foot pain. And then I also did some of the PT strength movements. Again, just trying to keep up, stay on top of the recovery and the rehab for this TFL on my left hip side. So good training day on Saturday. On to Sunday, yesterday's ride. Oh my God, this interval ride is notorious. I've done it half a dozen times or so. It's called 15-minute builds, and it's just really tough. And let me kind of explain why. I'll walk through the progression here. So warm up is 10 minutes, zone 1 to zone 2. Then you do 15 minutes at high zone 2 effort, so high aerobic effort. Then you pump 2 minutes of zone 4 with 2 minutes of recovery 3 times just to kind of prep the legs for the main sets that are coming up. And then the main set is these 15-minute chunks. 15 minutes at high zone 2, 15 minutes in zone 3, and then 15 minutes at high zone 4 without any recovery. I ended up taking a quick bathroom break a little bit into this first 15-minute set, so I didn't do it straight through, but I was able to get the zone 3 and the high zone 4 done. The high zone 4 for 15 minutes is really tough. I mean, riding above your threshold power is gonna be uncomfortable, but to do it about an hour and 10 minutes into a ride already without any recovery, just jumping from zone 3 straight into zone 4, mentally it's gonna suck, and then you're depending on the day, your body is gonna react. Now, the way that my body reacted was not too surprising. My heart rate went shooting up. Like, I arrived pretty quickly in my zone 4 threshold heart rate, if not a little bit higher. Let's see if I can see my heart rate here. Awesome. So during that 15-minute interval, you can see my heart rate starts out around 179. And now for some context, my threshold heart rate, last time I did a 20-minute FTP, my average was 184. So my threshold, my upper threshold is 184. So as soon as I started that 15-minute effort, I'm shooting right up to that zone 4 threshold heart rate within just 2 minutes. Okay, so now I got 13 more minutes to ride above my threshold power. My heart rate is already at threshold, and it just kept climbing. 187, 188, 189. I don't think I got to 190, but that last section was just brutal. My gosh, average heart rate of 184. And average power, I believe I got just about 319. My threshold power FTP is 317, so I technically 15-minute average at 319. Mission accomplished, right? I got that 15 minutes done above threshold. Even if it's 2 watts above threshold, I'll take it. But I gotta say, the end of the workout where you do 2 more 15-minute sets, another high zone 2, and then 1 more zone 3, 15-minute zone 3 to end the workout. So the last 15 minutes of the 2 hours is another 15-minute interval. That zone 3 effort felt like the high zone 4 effort. I mean, my heart rate didn't get quite as high, but you can see by the end, I'm up in the 180s again at zone 3 power. And I swear, man, like it really felt like I was trying to push 330 watts, even though it was 250, just because of the fatigue in my legs. Now, one other thing about the ride that I was really happy with, the overall average cadence for 2 hours was right at 90. And so I'm really happy that I was able to put out that power, keep my legs moving at 90 cadence or better. Absolutely destroyed me though. I mean, I was walking around gently the rest of the day. Definitely took a lot out of me. When I woke up this morning, my training readiness score was a 1 out of 100. So I know that I worked really hard yesterday. So let's take a look at this week's coming up training, but it's going to be pretty brief because I think this is all going to change. I had a monster day of training today, so pretty great workout yesterday, pretty hard effort on the bike yesterday, and then today I did a 3,600 yard swim earlier this morning, and then I had an 8-mile run on my plan. And when I saw this 8-mile run, I thought it had to be a mistake. I wanted to call my coach. I wanted to basically throw in the towel and say, I'm not ready to run 8 miles yet. I only ran 5 on Saturday. I really didn't want to even go and try. But the swim went really well, and then I started thinking about it a little bit differently and thought, you know, if I could actually run 8 miles, I think I'd feel really, really confident. If I could run 8 miles, have my foot feel good, I think that would really help me out mentally in the end. So I went out there and I did about a half-mile warm-up, and then I ran 7 miles at easy pace, taking a break after every mile. Decided to run 7 out of 8 because I did a little bit of a warm-up, and then I had to do a little half-mile jog back to the house. So all in all, I spent about an hour on my feet, and that's exactly what the workout prescribed. I was able to get 7 miles done extremely consistently, just really, really, really getting that pace almost just the same every mile. I averaged about 8:03 per mile, and my heart rate was just in high zone 2. And I feel great, honestly. Like it was a huge confidence builder for me to go out and do a run like that. I mean, yes, I'm tired. The bike ride yesterday, plus that swim this morning, plus that run. I'm pretty roasted right now, but it's also exciting to get through that much training and to feel like, you know, I'm okay. So gonna go to yoga tonight and really try to lean into those relaxation poses, stretch out, and try to take care of myself for the rest of the day. So the next couple days of training, I believe it's gonna change a little bit. So I'm not gonna get into the training that I have in my plan because I'm going to be racing on Saturday, and so I think I'm really going to be changing some of this around. The plan as it's written doesn't include that race. I signed up on a whim last week. So instead of talking about that, I would like to talk about what Garmin thinks about my training for the past couple of weeks. So let's take a look. This is a 4-week timeline of my chronic training load. Now, my acute training load is the training I've done in the last 7 days, and then the chronic is over 4 weeks, I believe. But as you can see in the last little bit of the last week or so, oh my goodness, I am really reaching up, and I've just ended up just above what Garmin thinks should be my sort of high end of total training load for the week. So I am right above the limit of what Garmin thinks I should be doing, which I don't take it too seriously. I'm not like worried about it, but I always think it's funny when I start like pushing these boundaries in my Garmin Connect. So that's what the training load looks like. The breakdown of my training over the last 4 weeks, according to Garmin, you know, I'm in range for my high aerobic activity. I'm in range for my low aerobic activity. I am so close to being in range for my anaerobic activity. So if I can get a little bit more anaerobic work in this week, I think we'll see that all of those optimal ranges are going to be in range, and then we'll see what Garmin says about that. Not gonna, there's a really good chance that if I get to go do this sprint triathlon this weekend, I'm gonna have some high anaerobic activity involved in my training this week. And the last thing I want to talk about here is a quick look at the training status that I've had for the past couple of weeks here in Garmin Connect. Now, for the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to recover from an injury. I haven't been running. I've been trying to make up that volume of running time by swimming and biking more. And I've been able to maintain a maintaining training status throughout that entire time. So if you look here, from August 26th all the way through September 10th is a large section here where the status stayed the same as maintaining. And then last week, all of a sudden, September 11th and 12th, I got the green productive status. And then on Saturday, it went back to maintaining. And then after my crazy ride on Sunday, it jumped back up to productive. And then after my swim and my run today, it also showed productive. So it's really interesting. I don't take this Garmin Connect stuff too super duper seriously. Like, I don't make training decisions based off of this information. However, I think it's really reassuring to see that as I've returned to running and as I've started to get more into the 70.3 style of training, my body's responded well. Garmin thinks that I'm being productive all of a sudden. And ultimately, I'm really excited to try and have a nice training week that leads into a nice event this Saturday. So I'm going to end the video here with a little brief talk about the Texas City Triathlon, why it's important to me to go race it, and what expectations I might have on race day. So I raced the Texas City Triathlon in its first year. I believe it was 3 years ago at this point, and it was a really interesting race. There was a very kind of unique transition setup where you had to run from the swim exit all the way to your bike. Also, one of the features of the course is that you race along this dike, this fishing dike in Texas City, where it's this big out and back. And it feels like you're riding on like a runway or something. It's like just straight for miles. And you're really exposed to the wind as well. So being able to be in that aero position is like really critical. So it's a really interesting course, open water swim, out and back on the bike, and then the run is a little bit of a loop-de-loop where you come back around and then come to the finish. It's a 5K. Nothing too special or crazy about the run, except for when I did it a couple years ago, the last mile or so, you did a little out and back, and that actually gave you a really good opportunity to see where other athletes were on the course. And that's not always the case in a sprint distance triathlon with one lap. A lot of times you don't really ever get a good idea of where people are, but just the way that it was set up, it was really neat to be able to see how far back people were. And I really pulled it all together on that day back when I first did that race. I was able to win the overall age group race, first place out of all the age groupers. It was phenomenal. It was really surprising. It's my first like overall type of win. I didn't end up getting an award for it because there weren't actually awards for the top 1, 2, and 3. There was a separate elite category in the race that year, and I believe that's where those awards went. Either way, it was fantastic. I loved the race. And then the last couple of years, I haven't done it again. You know, one year I think I was too busy training for something else, and then another time it just didn't fit in, and then I've made excuses. I'm really excited to be going and doing the race again because I kept getting emails that the race was selling out and that they had almost 600 people signed up for the race. And again, with this injury over the last few weeks, it's been really hard for me to wrap my head around, running with intensity, but I really think that I've recovered and I think I have a good chance to go and have a great race on Saturday. So I'm really eager and excited to go out and swim my best. I've been swimming so much that I feel like I'm going to be able to start the race with a comfort level that I haven't had the past 2 races because my swimming just hasn't been there. I feel like I can go attack that 500 yards and it's not going to wear me out too bad. I feel like I can get on that bike and just really open it up, especially on that out and back on the dike. I'm really interested in trying to average over 315 plus watts, especially in that long flat section, just to see what kind of maintained speed I can get. I might be able to get up over 26, 27 miles an hour if the conditions are good. And so I'm really hoping to be able to just fly on the bike. And then onto the run, I think it's hard to say how it's gonna go. I think I'm really going to try to just be a little bit reserved on the first mile and then just try and see red and get myself to really just push, dig deep, and try and speed up if I can towards the end. And we'll see where that gets me. I'm not sure who's going to be out there racing. I don't believe there's a separate elite division this year, so everyone's going to be in the same race together. And I might have a shot at coming in, close to that, top 5 overall, top 10 overall, and we'll just have to wait and see. One final note, there's a little bit of extra pressure riding on this race because in the context of my triathlon season right now, I've done 2 races, sprint distance races, where I've been able to score above 90 points on the USA Triathlon ranking for my performance in those races. If I'm able to score above 90 points in this event on Saturday, I'm pretty sure that will mean that I will have met the criteria to be a USA Triathlon All-American athlete for the year of 2025. That would be something I've never accomplished before. I've never been a USAT All-American before. I came very close in my 2024 season, and it's been something that's been sort of a goal I've been aware of, and just hoping that I can achieve it. And Saturday, I will have a chance to go and get that done. I'm pretty sure if I have a good race there, I'll get those points, and I will be able to check that box. So I will definitely be back on Monday next week with another update to let you know how that race went, and if there's anything else going on this week that comes up, I'll talk about it then as well. In the meantime, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my update this week. If you ever have any questions, concerns, additives, things you think you might be able to add to the story here, or if you have any questions about my training, please feel free to go ahead and leave a comment down below. I do read all of them, and I appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.